Hi, this is Carolyn Whitman with another episode of CEOs You Should Know. Today, I have the pleasure of sitting down with Linda Armyn, the president and CEO of FourLeaf Federal Credit Union. Linda, welcome.
Thank you. So glad to be here.
Oh, we're so great to have you. So, with that, I know there's a lot of new, exciting things happening for FourLeaf. You're going through a nice little rebrand that's coming out and happening. But with that, I would love to dive in and learn a little bit more about your background and how you got to the position that you're currently in.
Sure. So I have been in banking for most of my career. And I started with two commercial banks way back when,
Wow.
pre-2001. And then in August of 2001, I came over to the credit union. And at the time, we were Bethpage Federal Credit Union.
Yes.
And I grew up there. I,
Mhm.
raised my kids as an executive at Bethpage Federal Credit Union and got to see so many people. We have a lot of longevity at the credit union, so there's so many people that have been there as long as I have, if not longer. So it's been really a great experience. So I, worked my way up through the organization, through the front of the house. Not necessarily always a CEO path. So I did marketing and business development and
Incredible.
communications, and the financial stuff I do and I learned, but that was not my primary strength, and that tends to be where the past CEOs would come from. I like to say that the front of the house, the marketing side of the house, the communication skills, it's 95% of what I do as a CEO. And those soft skills that people like to call them, I like to call them core skills, because honestly, I do that all day long.
Wow.
The finance people take care of the finances all day
Yeah.
long, and I get involved. But having that ability to build relationships and to listen and to communicate and to bring the village together, so to speak, is really what matters. So I feel my background really helped to position me to get to this point. And it's been a really interesting ride along the way.
No,
So,
that's amazing.
but yeah, I've been with the credit union 23 years.
Impressive.
Yeah, CEO the last year and a half.
Wow.
And it's flying by. And as you said, we're embarking on this major rebrand, turning Bethpage into FourLeaf. And
Incredible.
we're super excited about it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
No, that's so exciting. And I think even like a testament to you, 23 years, you
Yeah.
said? That's impressive, especially in this day and age.
Yeah.
And being able to understand the business from all different angles and all different aspects, that's a type of CEO every company should have.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I do harken back to my first job in banking, which was at the Bank of New York. And I went through their management program. And I don't even think those programs exist anymore, but they were popular back then. And I went through a good 2-year program where I learned literally every aspect of the bank.
Wow.
And that still stays with me to today. So I definitely credit that experience from way back when. I don't want to date myself.
No, it helps you better understand your employees and your
Yeah.
ecosystem, and really helps you kind of align the path forward.
Yeah.
And with that, you've built this incredible career where you are the first female president and CEO of FourLeaf, which is an accomplishment in itself. What does that mean for you personally and professionally?
It's interesting. I didn't give it a lot of thought.
Mhm.
I really didn't. But what I will say is my team did. So, I was preparing and within the succession lines and to become the CEO, and I was preparing for all the things that I thought I needed to really be prepared for on day one. And I was all about, well, I grew up here. I know everybody. I know the inner workings of the organization. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, right? But now I'm going to just do it at a different level. And I was completely taken back and a little off guard. I had so many of the young female staff and executives coming up to me and saying, this is amazing to see, like,
incredible.
and emotional about it, right? And I was like, wow, I didn't realize the impact it was going to make on others. Of course, I was proud of it, and I was so excited to be named the CEO because I love this organization so much, and to be able to be the head coach or the steward of this fine organization was a thrill of a lifetime for me, and still is, obviously. But I just didn't think of what it would mean to other people. And it was really important and impactful to a lot of the female staff that we have. to see themselves in their CEO. And I just
Definitely.
think it's amazing.
Yeah, I think there's some women that are kind of paving the way and setting the tone. And you don't necessarily think about it until you get there. And then there's other women that don't see themselves there until they see someone like them in that seat.
Agreed.
So you completely pave that way. And I think when you look at FourLeaf, it is not just a credit union. It is the largest and one of the most successful and such a pinnacle. And with that, you're a driving force behind that. And so is your entire team.
Yep.
What do you think has led to that success?
Collaboration, teamwork, and not just in a cliche way. We really operate where, one of my big things is it takes a village. And clearly I didn't make that up.
Yep.
I stole that. But it resonates, right? It resonates with people. And one of the things that we have talked about for years is, it's really important that everybody is in tune to what's the company goals. And the company goals is to have happy members, right?
Yes.
We want to have happy employees and we want to have happy members. And the only way to do that is for us to work together. If you have different business lines at odds with each other where one's not going to make their goals because the other one did, that doesn't work. We need to be in a situation where we win together. And if we have to, we lose together and we pivot quickly so that we win together. But it's all about doing it together. And everyone has to run their unique business lines, but everybody has to do it in mind with the greater good of the organization. And sometimes we have to prioritize and reprioritize and maybe pivot from different things, and maybe something has to get delayed to make something, take off, like the rebrand, right?
Yes.
There were things that
All
we had
hands
to
on deck.
say. That was all hands on deck. Yeah, that was the whole village and then some. So, we have to make sure that we're all working together, because when you don't do that, then that's when things fall through the cracks, and that's when there's problems. So, and if there's something that has to be fixed, we all rally together to fix it. And if there's something we have to celebrate, we all rally together to celebrate. And
Important.
I truly think it's the secret sauce. I tell our team all the time, our ability to build relationships with each other, with our members, with the communities that we serve is our superpower. And I think that's why we're successful.
No, that makes so much sense. And communication is key in so many different ways and shape and form. If everybody knows the direction the company's going in, then everybody's leaning into the same mission and the same goal. When there's not communication, people are working all different directions, and you can never get to your end point.
You can't. You can't. You have to. There has to be alignment and understanding of what is important and that end goal of making sure that our members feel the love and the value that they get when they come into one of our branches or our contact center or wherever the case may be with anybody, that that they feel that we used to call it the warm Beth Page hug, now we call it the FourLeaf hug.
I love
but
it.
they need to feel that.
And you said something as you were describing that communication, and it's more than just internal, it's external too, and it's part of the community, and it's being a part of the community. You have a program, FourLeaf Cares.
Yep.
Can you tell us how you've really created this partnership with the community and how you've built that and what that means?
Yeah, it's critical. I always say to the team, if FourLeaf failed to exist tomorrow, right, and we just got plucked out, would we be missed? Would we leave a void? And the answer to that question should be yes. So, and the only way to do that is to be a part of the communities that you serve. So we, for years now, have really focused on developing literally the communities where our branches are, but then the greater, for many years, Long Island community. And now we stretch that into New York City, where we have a branch, in New Jersey. And then any place where we do business, it's important that we are involved in those communities so that they understand that we're not just trying to take from them, get their business, but we also give back. And we do it in a lot of ways. Some financial institutions, some companies just write checks.
Yes.
So we don't believe in that. We believe that we need to have a comprehensive, holistic program, and that's what Beth Page Cares is. So we write checks, we write grants, we have all of our employees volunteering. Last year we did close to 6,000 volunteer hours. Wow. We also do a lot of education programs. So we have a team of people that just do educational programs, and all of that comes together to really, let the community know that we're here for them. And it's not just about, come do business with us. Come open a checking account or take a loan. It's that, when you come and open a checking account, when you come and take a loan, that we're going to take a portion of that and invest in the community so that the communities are stronger. And that's why we do it. And it's important.
Beautiful. No, and I think it's important for a financial institution to be a part of the community
Yeah.
because you're a part of everyone's lives.
Yeah.
And an important part because finance is a part of our day to day.
It is.
So giving back and making yourself known to the community is important.
And finances is intimidating to a lot of people.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Sign me up. I'm one of them.
I mean, people come into the branch and they're so, especially, for the first time, they're so nervous. Like, what do I have to do? Right. And if we can be endearing to the community, then that makes that walk into the branch not so scary, or that when they pick up the phone because they need a car loan and am I going to get approved and what is this going to mean? And, being a part of the community makes people at ease when they come in. And that's what we want.
100%. It's almost like giving them a welcome mat. Like, yep, you already know us. We're here. Let's talk.
Yeah.
Which is nice to kind of break down that barrier. Now, you've done so much for the community. You've built this incredible brand under Bethpage, and now you're merging into this new brand. Tell us about what the name means and
Sure.
really how this journey came to be.
Yeah, so it was interesting. For the last 5 years, we've been toying with the idea of changing our name. And, we were all kind of attached to it, right? Bethpage,
Yes.
I'm Linda from Bethpage. It became like a part of our identity. However, when we started branching out to new areas, the city, Jersey, we have a charter that allows us to do business in all 50 states. So the more we do business outside of the area, people don't resonate with Bethpage. It's this small town on Long Island. Actually, when we asked people, what do you think of when you think of Bethpage? The largest word in the word cloud, consultants love to give you big word clouds. The largest word in the word cloud was nothing. They don't think of anything. And I was like, ooh, that's a little bit of a gut punch, right?
Yeah.
And then the second biggest word was golf course. The fine print was where we saw credit union. So it wasn't resonating. And we tested it locally too, right? So for some people it resonated, for others it didn't. And from an expansion perspective, especially as we continue to grow outside the area, we felt it was really important to come up with a name that could resonate with everybody. So then that brought us to, we looked at hundreds of names and kept narrowing it down. And we fell in love with a whole bunch of them. And at the end of the day, we ended up testing the names. And FourLeaf came out on top every single time. And the reason it came out on top is it makes people feel happy, right?
It does.
They think of prosperity and luck, and they think of four-leaf clover as being rare. And it's just something that makes people feel happy. So it was a good name. It was a name that I don't know if I necessarily would have chose, but it happened. It became apparent. And one of the things that we are at the credit union, and also very important to this decision, was to make a data-driven decision. You can't just pick a name that you fell in love with and it doesn't resonate with people, because then it defeats the purpose of going through this exercise. So, the data told the story, and we tested it head-to-head with a couple of the other names, came out on top. Tested it head-to-head with Bethpage, blew it away. I mean, it was a huge margin. So, we tested it locally, regionally, nationally, and the same results every single time. So, but what we did was we leaned into the prosperity. We leaned into just our mission and values and how it related back to what we hope to achieve.
Sure.
Helping people find their hopes and dreams. And then we created a mark that was made of 2 infinity circles about the infinite possibilities.
Beautiful.
And for everybody, right? And so that's how it came to be. We're super excited about it. Our members seem to be pretty excited about it. We've had some hate mail, but very little. And for the most part, people are excited. We picked the colors to represent our heritage. So we had originally started as the Grumman Credit Union before we were the Bethpage Credit Union, and they had a blue. So we said, let's lean into that blue, which also represents New York.
Yes.
And we said, let's keep a little bit of that orange, which was all about Bethpage. And when you put the 2 colors together, it's New York colors, right? And it evokes emotion to our legacy, and then they're also very rich, fun colors that will take us into the future.
I love it.
So that's how we did it.
It's an interesting thought process, because I think sometimes in naming and rebranding and that whole process, I think some people just think comes out of nowhere. But it seems like there's so much thought and dedication and time and sensitivity that went into this. I'm excited to see it come to life.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Very
it really
cool.
is.
So you talked about your philosophy and kind of the imaging behind FourLeaf and where that came to be. But let's dive a little bit into the philosophy of the company and talk a little bit about member ownership. Yeah. What does that mean to you as a leader, and what work towards in your decision-making process?
Yeah. So, as a not-for-profit cooperative, that is a mouthful.
Yeah.
Which is what credit unions are.
Mm-hmm.
We have a responsibility to our owners, which are our members. We don't have outside shareholders.
Mm-hmm.
So public companies, you're driven by quarterly decisions made based on your stock price, right? And your fulfillment to your shareholders.
Sure.
Our stakeholders are our members,
Mm-hmm.
and they own us. And we have to make sure that every decision we're making, and this is key, is in the benefit of the membership. So I can't just make a lot of one-off decisions to benefit one member,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's not the spirit of the cooperative nature, but it's about what's in the best interest of the entire membership. So we may not be able to have the highest deposit rate on every single product because that might not be financially prudent, but we're going to make sure that the ones that we know people care about today, we're going to make sure we give them the highest value that we can. And we're going to also offer the lowest loan rate that we can possibly offer because it's in the best interest of the membership. And making sure that there's a balance between the two, that, we can invest in our branches and invest in our technology so that everybody has something that makes them want to be a part of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody has different expectations. And, the internet and all these apps and Amazon and all the
So
places
much.
that have
Mm-hmm.
set consumer expectations, it's really hard for financial institutions to keep up with that.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to constantly be reinventing ourselves and reinvesting in technology just to catch up sometimes.
Oh, yeah, it's overwhelming. There's
Yeah,
always something new.
There's always
Yeah.
something new that's driving customer expectation,
Mhm.
right? And so we need to make sure that we understand the member needs. That goes back to listening,
Mm-hmm.
right? So what's important to our membership, and then make sure that we're working every day to deliver it. And it's important because at the end of the day, that's why we exist. And we need our employees to be happy, right? Because
Definitely.
the only way the members are going to be happy is if the employees are happy. So we put a lot of time and attention into cultivating a really strong employee culture where they all feel valued.
Mm-hmm.
And it pays off for itself because every day they're meeting that same mission of what's in the best interest of our members.
It's important. And I feel like the more your employees are happy and confident and content, the more your customers are going to feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of this full circle moment that really brings business back because you're starting at the core and the foundation.
Right. I
Mhm.
mean, have you ever been into a business where you walk in and the computer's not working and they're like, I hate this company,
Yeah.
hate this computer. They're grunting at you and
Mhm.
you're like, oh, I don't think I want to be here, right?
Mhm.
And I've had that happen. I walk into a store and I hear two people complaining to each other,
Mhm.
and it's like, ooh, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
Our people, when the computers don't always work, but
Yeah.
when they're not working, they're smiling at you and
Mhm.
typing and trying to figure out like we're gonna make this work,
Mhm.
But you have to have that persona and that personality of your team that really resonates because our especially even with the brand change, right?
Mhm.
Because our members were like, is this a merger? And we're like, no, it's not. We're just changing our name. Well, is Susan still going to be in the branch that I love? Of course, Susan's still going to be in the branch that you
Mhm.
love. It's important. The members connect with our employees.
Smart. And it's important. You hit it right on the head. When you walk into a business, you feel it.
You do.
And you feel welcomed or you don't. And that kind of really impacts your decision before you even talk to somebody.
Yeah.
So I love that you focus on that. And talking about other things that you focus on and really important initiatives, it is International Women's Month. So I did want
Yes.
to definitely hit on this. Tell me more about Money Like a Woman.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
It is so fun and exciting. I actually just had the opportunity to speak at a gender equity conference in Detroit about Money Like a Woman.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so excited to introduce it to a new group of people that have never heard about it. So Money Like a Woman was really inspired when we were going through the brand changes. We said, something we really want to do is support something in culture, right?
Mhm.
And a movement is about jumping into something that's in culture today that we can really support and get behind and believe in, not just a campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes with activations and really saying we're going to go all in on supporting women. And it's not about fixing women, it's about celebrating women.
Yes.
So we came up with this idea, Money Like a Woman, and it had a lot of different names and iterations along those lines. But it wasn't about being better than. It was about how do we take all the wonderful attributes and values that women bring to the table, right? Like empathy, being able to communicate, collaboration, giving that warm hug, right?
Yes.
Making people feel welcomed. So how do we take all these things and all the value that women bring to the table? So whether you're the CEO of your living room or the CEO of your company, you're still adding tremendous value to the people around you, whether it's your family, your friends, or the greater community. So we wanted to celebrate that. And then we also wanted to reinforce our commitment to helping women to succeed and to get that next level, right? So we are supporting through a campaign that we're doing right now called Beth Boards. We said, why do they have to be called billboards? Let's just change it up and call them Beth Boards.
Love it.
We keeping the name even as FourLeaf because it's fun.
Yes.
And what we're doing is we're donating expensive digital boards to women-owned businesses.
Wow.
And giving them that opportunity and awareness of their companies that they might not be able to afford to do, but everybody should know about them.
Yes.
And we're doing it in a really fun way. Yeah, people get to apply, right? And then we have a committee that, vets everything and vets the companies. And then we had 2 women-owned businesses that we launched with on the NASDAQ board in the middle of Times Square, right in the heart of November.
Wow,
and,
congratulations.
that was fun, right? And I'm looking at this thing 20 stories high and saying, holy cow, I can't
like a
believe we
lifetime
just
moment.
did this.
I feel
It
like that's
is.
so many
It
people's
was a
bucket
pitch
list.
me
Yes.
moment, right? And then, now we have them on train stations and train trestles and, a coffee shop in Huntington, Long Island might not need to be on the NASDAQ board, but they might really want to be on the trestle of the train in Huntington or on the railroads and things along those lines. So really excited about that. We're also going to celebrate women through what we're calling the Money Like a Visionary Awards. And we're gonna start accepting nominations shortly, and it'll be celebrating a woman that's a corporate leader, a not-for-profit leader, an entrepreneur, and a young professional.
Wow.
And we're gonna give them significant value in the prizes. Where we're going to give them training or marketing consulting or whatever it is that they need to help develop it. And we have this menu of options for them that, again, have value to it. But we want to help women, take their journey to the path that they want to success, right? And give them a little help along the way. And then we're also developing an app that's going to come out in this summer. And we did a lot of ethnographic research, and basically that means we talked to a lot of women, and then we took 6 women and went into their homes for a week and watched how they did things and interacted with their family and figured out how they do their finances and really learned a lot.
Yeah.
And from that research, they said, there's a lot of apps out there, but they're all different. You want one for childcare, parent care, how to navigate getting, when you're pregnant, what to expect, all those things, right? So there's nothing out there that is in one thing, right? So we are creating an AI-driven app that feels like you're talking to your friend and you're going to get to chat with somebody and you're going to get to ask your questions about multitasking and all the different things that women...
Oh my gosh, sign me up right now.
Yeah, right? All the different things that women, need to Google today, right? And we're going to try and put this all together in one place. And we hired, the professionals from all the major app developers to say, how do we do this? How do we achieve this? So that's underway. We're super excited.
Very exciting.
More to come, and that'll be open to everybody, not just members. And so I'm really excited about that. And then we're also working on a family baking program where how do you teach children the importance of understanding money? And that's called Money Like a Mom. Right? Because we all learn this from our moms and our dads, but we're going to lean into Money Like a Mom and create this family banking program where people can really talk to the kids about money, even each other, right? We all still have things to learn about money, but really make it fun. It's gamified, and you can give points and dollars for chores and different accomplishments and awards that they win, and grandparents can get involved and all that kind of stuff. So that's
So
also
smart.
under development too.
Oh,
So
exciting. So
yeah,
many things.
yeah, it's fun. It's really fun. And again, it's really resonated with
Mhm.
people. Yeah, there's always going to be people that don't like it,
Yes.
because well, what about the men? Well, the men love us, right? So
Mhm.
women are 51% of the population, and they have an association with the other half of the population, which are men, right? So this is about being inspired by women, celebrating women, but it's not excluding anybody. So like even the app, it's inspired by women, but trust me, anyone can use it. In fact, my husband would say, I can't wait for that app, right? Because there's things I need to figure out.
Me and your husband both.
Yeah, right. I
We're
mean,
ready
me
for
too.
it.
So it's about that, and it's about being inclusionary, but really just celebrating the spirit of women and everything that we bring to the table. I mean, it was funny. One of my staff people said, when you see athletes win like the Olympics and all these, with the Super Bowl, they always thank their mom, right? And so it's inspired a little bit by some of that connotation, right? Like, the mom seems to be the one that everyone wants to celebrate right away. And not that the dads don't, but we're just leaning into that. So it's fun. We're having fun with it. People seem to love it. We actually had a member come in and said, I've been thinking about doing business with you. I've been looking at your rates, and I want to bring some of my money over here because I have a single daughter who is working hard and killing it, and I love to support an organization that's supporting women. So I was like, that's great.
Amazing.
Yeah.
No, it kind of leads the way, and I think for women to have that place to go to and that
Yeah.
destination to find the education and the acceptance. I love the fact that you went into women's homes and
Yeah.
kind of took that deep dive, because there's this whole new expectation, I think, on working women right now where we're doing so much, and sometimes it's so hard to manage, and we're also not the type to complain, right? Because our families are important, our careers are important, and it's like, how do you complain about either one of them? Because they're both incredibly important to us. Sometimes it's just hard to manage. And then you add money into it and finances, and you're like, how do I make all this work? So
Yeah.
I'm excited for this to come out.
Yeah, one really important point from what you're saying is one of the things we found in the research, and it was probably the number one thing that was said, is, we always focus on the pay gap, right? Which is it goes up and down every year. It closed to about 16%. It's widening again a little bit now. But it's the time gap. It's called an invisible time gap, because women just have to figure out how to find the time.
Oh, it's wild.
To do all this stuff.
It's wild.
And they said that they were less concerned about the pay gap. Not that they wanted to get bigger, right? They still want the pay gap to close. But the time gap, which is invisible to most people, is where they're the most frustrated, because they just have to. A lot of people are caring for their parents, caring for their kids. And then they have to figure out, when are they going to care for themselves? And then how do you have fun, right?
Yeah.
You got to get that.
Where's the fun?
Where's the fun? So it's, how do you juggle work and all these different responsibilities? And, I do think it's changing a little bit with the generations, right? So my generation, I went back to work. And my husband and I have a partnership, right? He does as much as I do, and we really try to split the multitasking. The younger generation, I'm starting to see, is doing it even more. And I do think it's because they saw what we did and that it was hard for us. So they're figuring out ways to be partners with each other, so that they can help each other, navigate work and life. And I've heard people say work-life balance, and I've heard other people just call it life balance.
It's life balance. That's what it has
like,
to be.
Yeah, work is just a component of it. There's so many other things. So I kind of feel like, even with Money Like a Woman, it's celebrating everybody, with an emphasis on women. But it's really about, how do we all manage
100%.
and balance life.
So smart. I'm going to take that home tonight.
All right.
Life balance.
Life balance.
You've already done so much, like in your career for FourLeaf. What's on the horizon? What's next? Where do you envision different things coming? Like where's your next?
I am just so excited about where we are today, that I'm actually trying to live in the moment for right now, because we just went through this huge rebrand. And Money Like a Woman is just fantastic. So I want to continue to see where we can take Money Like a Woman. I want to see, all the great things we're going to do as FourLeaf. Again, we're really trying to up our digital game, because that's where it's at. And I really just want to see where I can take this company for the next 10 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I have a period of time where I have such a fantastic team and great staff, and how are we going to take FourLeaf to the next level from a regional perspective, a national perspective, and just keep the company growing. And, a lot of people are like, well, is this about growth or is this about your members? And I would say both,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
We have to keep growing. We're a big credit union. We're a
Mm-hmm.
small financial institution if we're talking about the reality of all this. And the only way to keep serving our members in the way that we want to is to keep growing and developing new ideas and better ways to serve them. So I'm just excited about that. I want to see where we go and hopefully lead the ship in the right direction.
No, honestly, from our time together today, I'm excited to see where everything goes because you are inspiring, you're thoughtful, you appreciate not just your employees, but your members. And that's really refreshing to see. With that, looking at your career, looking back at what you've built and where you're going and all your aspirations today, tomorrow, now. What is one piece of advice you would give our listeners who are looking to plan their career? They're looking for the next step. They're looking to elevate themselves.
Yeah.
How would you guide them in that process?
Authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
Be true to yourself. And, again, a lot of people say it's become a little bit cliche these days, but it's not. And throughout my career, I've always tried to be what I thought somebody else wanted me to be. What's that stereotype of a female executive, right? And I've learned and had some bumps and bruises along the way. And listening to employees and listening to my peers and people who have mentored me and coached me along the way have said, be yourself. Don't try to be what this person thinks you should be, and don't try to be what that person is. Be yourself, be genuine. And honestly, if I started all over again, that's what I would want to do. Because when you try to be someone you're not, or you try to fit into a stereotype that you think you need to be, it doesn't work, right? Because it's not who you are naturally, right? And I would say my career became more successful where I was on this trajectory of saying, wow, yeah, I could do that. Because honestly, years ago, if you would have said to me, are you going to be a CEO? I'd be like, are you crazy? No, that's not what I want to do. I like to make things happen, and do it for somebody else, right? Yes. But then at a certain point across my career, I was like, no, I want to do this. I do want to be the CEO. I do want to help guide and coach people because that's what the job is. It's not telling people what to do. It's guiding and coaching them along the way so that we can all be great together. And, the only way to do that is to be authentic.
Yeah.
And really be true to who you are and what your values are and find what you love, right? I mean, I love what I'm doing right now. It's so important to find what you love. Everyone has this expectation when you're 18 years old and you go to college, you pick a major and that's what you're going to do for the rest of your life. I don't know. I wanted to be a press secretary. I wanted to be at the podium asking all the questions. And I went to school for, English literature and communications. And here I am, the CEO of a financial institution, and I wouldn't trade a minute of it, right? Because
inspiring.
It's fun and I'm learning a lot and I get to deal with great people every day. And, honestly, what I studied in school helped me, but I never thought that's where I was going. So I guess that's my advice.
So relatable. I think so many of us try and change the mold and we try and change who we are because we think we have to be this certain person to get to a certain place. And you don't. You just have to be yourself because yourself is good enough.
Right.
And that's a memo that I'm going to leave everybody with today is to be authentic, be yourself, and take some inspiration from Linda, who I feel so inspired from today, which is it's incredible to see your trajectory and your journey and the care that you put into everything that you do. Thank you so much for joining us. We truly appreciate having you. I could talk to you for hours. Might have to have another episode. I don't know.
Me too. Thank you so much.
Oh, no,
I appreciate you having me here.
Oh, 100%. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to CEOs You Should Know. Hopefully there's more to come, and we're going to follow your journey and celebrate this rebrand. So congratulations, and we're excited to see everything that comes your way in the future.
Oh, thank you.